mixing, color mixing.
I'm hitting record so I don't forget. Sorry, go ahead.
Know that color mixing is the hardest part, and
Yeah.
that's what you're dealing with, that's not intuitive. The process is not intuitive. You need to be taught how to layer. So that's the main thing. It's like, oh, I'm using reds and pinks now. Weird.
Yeah.
And then I'm going over with blues and greens and what's happening. So just do your best. All right, I'm going to pop out.
Okay.
Marie, if you feel like, jump in. If you feel like just passing through, jump in and see. Come at 11:30.
Okay. 11:30. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. So, Jackie, one thing about pastels have you done any art in the past with any different mediums, or is this all new?
Really, with Leah, I've done pencil and charcoal, and I've done like one acrylic painting.
Okay. Okay, great. So one of the things, hi Julia, hi Christina. One of the things with pastel is the layering, what Leah talked about. And so one thing to just watch, and if I get ahead and you get really frustrated, that's okay. Don't stop, just go at your pace. You always can watch this, and I try to give as many breaks as possible. So we've got some new people joining as well, and I'm here to just help you along the way, and most importantly, have fun. I don't want you to get upset. We just want to have fun. This is actually a picture I took in Alaska. My mom lives there, and I thought it was really fun. All the pretty kelp colors, the yellows and the rusty oranges, and this line right here, there's really not a line. I think it's just the paper folded, and so it looks like there's a line. There's not. So I apologize. It's showing up in the picture like it is, but it's not. So one thing to keep it for those who know, and for those that are new, my class is all about landscapes. So this month is a study of rocks, and so I just want you to know a little bit about aerial perspective, which is really important when we're dealing with landscapes. And aerial perspective in art is looking at what's in the foreground, and as you move to the distance, the value changes, right? So value meaning lights to darks, darks to lights. So when I'm talking about values, I'm talking about from the dark to the very light. Generally in landscapes, the sky is your lightest color, right? So I try to kind of maintain that in our classes and what we learn. But please keep in mind, on these pictures, you can see, this is a prime example. This rock right here kind of gets lost with this back hillside. And it appears to be the same value, right? Because it disappears. But in aerial perspective, that's our job to push this back. And the way we do that is make those values lighter, okay? And so you're gonna see that in my class today. Hi, Natalia, it's good to see you. So you're gonna see some things that happen and you're like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't look like it in the picture. Well, that is where our artistic license comes in. And we know that if we were there in person, that the rock is in front, closest to us. And the only way we can paint that is to push that mountain back. And that's how we do it, is with lighter colors and values. So generally what I like to do, Jackie, is send over our picture, our subject, and then I'll send it in black and white. Hi, Linda. Our black and white picture helps you see the changes in the values a little easier. So I encourage you, when you're practicing, to turn your pictures to black and white. So I'm going to send this photo over. And also, before we get started, I thought it would be kind of nice to see some other pastel landscapes done and rocks done in pastel. So I'm gonna also send that over to you before we start. If I'm not familiar with a certain subject, I like looking at what other artists do, how to tackle those, maybe those shaded areas, or how do they deal with the lights? You know, sometimes painting local color meaning what you see, isn't necessarily, I guess, exciting. And sometimes it's nice to punch up colors. Sometimes it's nice to do a different type of palette of colors. So I tend to just kind of look at different artists before I start, just to have an idea. So with that in mind, here are a couple I'll send over to you that I like. And very simple. Here we go, I'm cropping it. So here's an example. And Jackie, are you on my WhatsApp thread? Okay.
Yep.
So if you're looking at what I just sent, see what they use for those shadows, those blues and the purples. It's not dark brown or black, even though the picture shows that. Look how beautiful those oranges and those purples. And it's very simple, very simple. There's no drawing with a pencil on the edges, no drawing every single little crevice. The way I paint and teach is more impressionist style, meaning I like to use my pastel as an extension of like a paintbrush of my hand. So for example, today in our class, I'll grab a piece of paper here. We're gonna be painting these edges. So instead, let's hold this like this. Instead of like drawing it like this line, right? I'm gonna use the edge of my pastel, and I'm going to do this and bring it off to the edge and create that line. Do you see the difference? So that's the style you're gonna see when I'm teaching. And it's okay for if you're new and you feel like you wanna draw, if that helps you, that's okay. But ideally down the road, we want to take advantage of our pastel and use that to create those dark shaded areas. So that's kind of what I wanted you to look at this picture here with those dark purples and blues. And I'm actually going to be using quite a bit of the dark purples and the blues for shaded in today's lesson. I also have a couple more pictures I thought were kind of fun to look at. This is a very detailed, and this is the fun part, right? You can go as detailed as you want. But again, look at the different palette choices. So if you look at this, you've got more green. So instead of the purple as the shade, we've got some peach, we've got some green, we've got a little bit of purple and blue, but so see how interesting that is? So what we're seeing right now, as long as the value is correct, you can use whatever color you want. So if we were to turn these to black and white, those values, the original picture would show just as what we see here painted. It's still the dark to the light, the same value, the same lightness to darkness. So it's kind of fun to practice, and why it's important to have your pastels kind of organized in a value range if you can. It does help when you're looking there's another one that I thought was kind of fun to look at. Again, it's just a rocky cliff with some trees. And I really like this color choice. So look at that. You already get a sense of this foggy, moody day. It's not like what we're painting today where it was sunny. But look at all of those strokes. And this is what I'm talking about using your pastel. If you look at the bottom of this artist's, this cliff rock, look at all those small little strokes of color. It gives you an idea of the cragginess of it, right? Without drawing specific lines. So that's what we're going to look for today. We're going to use our pastel in different mark making in different ways to create the illusion of those deep crevices or those sharp contrast lines, this really dark to this really light. And that's the fun part of pastel. The other tip Jackie will give you, and just watch along today. If it gets a little too overwhelming, I want you just to watch. One of the things with pastel is we always start with the darks and we work to the lights. It's very hard with pastel to just come in with a light color and then try to darken it. You're going to get what we call mud. And pastel isn't like acrylic or oil in the sense that you can just scrape it off your canvas. You have to be a little more methodical and about how you're going to plan to attack. And it's not to say that it's not forgiving, but we do take our time to think about how we want to start. So let's start. We're going to, I'm not going to do an alcohol wash today. I think I'm just going to sketch it with I have a new pastel. It's a blue spruce, dark blue. And my intention, and maybe I need to draw on here so you can see it a little better. If you can't see it well, just pull it up on your computer, but you can see the rock. I'm going to draw the edge here so you can see it a little better. And we're just looking at shapes. We're not looking at all the detail. So here's one shape. Okay, and then here's another shape. Right here, this dark shape. Here's another one. It's almost like a triangle. It's kind of interesting how that gets broken down, right? And then we've got a hillside. Something to think about. The hillside here runs right into our rock, and that's okay. It's just be aware of this edge. It's hitting what we call on the tangent, and so we kind of need to decide if we want to bring it down here because it's kind of throwing off our rock. So I might lower this hillside to come down in here and then bring it up. So it's just a little lower. It's hard for the viewer. So compositionally speaking, that's probably what I'm going to do, which means it's kind of affect this hillside. But again, this is a picture I took and I can do that. If we were painting Yosemite, not so much. We would probably want to keep the rock the same. So again, we're just kind of looking at these shapes, right? And I encourage you to do this if you want to print out your picture, if it helps you, so you can see. So I have my sanded paper. For those who don't have sanded paper, that's okay. Just mark out an area, a box. I like to do this. It kind of keeps my eye in place so I know, okay, spatial wise.
So Marie, the picture
Yeah.
you sent us does not look the same as this one.
The sanded paper?
No, the picture you were actually painting
Yeah.
is different from what you sent.
Is it?
I mean, I think it's the same thing, but I think it's a different angle. So the line is different on the mountain at the back.
Oh.
Unless I'm going completely insane. I don't know. Is anybody else seeing that, or am I the only one who's going mad?
I think
I can see that, yes, I agree.
Mine has more sky.
Yeah, a lot more
Interesting.
sky.
So I think her, just where it printed on the paper, cut off some of the top.
Oh, that might be why, how it printed on my paper.
But
I bet
also
that's why.
The line
Yeah.
is down, so there's much more.
Because the sky is up higher.
It's not only about that.
That's not the
The
same.
angle of the mountain going into that
Yeah,
big
there's
rock,
more. There's more.
it's significantly lower.
Interesting.
It's a different picture, really. I mean,
Looks
probably like
different.
they
Yeah.
Weird. Maybe I printed out it's like in the same, when I was taking pictures, I bet I printed out the one that's okay. Well, so going forward, painting, paint what you have, and I'll be aware of that too, what I sent over. That way you guys have all, so it's mainly that back hill. It's the same back hill, but we'll just kind of adjust these lines and include the sky a little bit higher. That's no problem. No problem at all. So I'll make sure that, and I'm glad you brought that to my attention, Julia, because I just assumed it was the same.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I'm thinking, that's so weird. And then
actually, like, what happened, if you zoom in, that's why. It's weird. Okay, not a problem.
It's like I think it's just the ratio, the aspect ratio is different, I think. And I think that's kind of stretched some things differently, maybe.
No, I think it's just, I was circling around in the boat, and I think so this one that I printed out, I thought was the same one as this one. And so I think I was over on this edge, and as I was circling around, this is more of the front. But either way, that's okay. We'll paint it. So I've got both pictures. It's the same rock, same place. So more than anything, we're just going to look at those shapes and plug it in and make sure, right, that the rock, our intentions is to have it in front, and that the hillside is just going to be in the background. So, let me send a picture of what I pulled out for some colors. Very simple. I didn't do a whole lot. Starting from the left side, you'll see that bright purple blue. That's probably going to be the water with that dark green to the side, or dark blue down here. And then above it, you'll see, starting from the left in the middle, like a navy blue and a purple, and then moving into the colors for the rock in the center. Up above is some light greens for in the back hillside. And then you're just kind of working your way around to some blues and some turquoise for the sky. And then all the oranges and the peaches, that's going to, and minus that red that I just threw in there from drawing on the paper. Those are going to be our highlights. Again, once we get into it, it might change a little bit, but at least that will have an idea that you can just kind of zoom in and see. These are soft pastels, Jackie. Hard pastels are fine, whatever you have. I know if you don't have the exact color, don't worry about it. We have some area here for testing colors. That's important before you lay it down to see how it's going to look, because once you put one color next to another color, it can change. It can change in the temperature, the warm or cool. It may look cool on your palette. Once it gets up to another color, it may not look that way. So it's always good to have testing down here, side or bottom. That's why I like to kind of do this box. And so step one, we're going to sketch. So I'm going to follow the picture that I sent you with using these details. So like I've been there, I know it, I know the rock, and story of this rock, it's very, very remote, Alaska only by boat. And I have lost so much fishing gear on this damn rock. And every time I go, mom, my mom lives there, like, I want to go get a fish and reclaim this area, because darn it, every time it is just eaten every gear, and it's just so shallow. It just all of a sudden becomes a shallow area. And so actually,
what color is that you're doing?
This is just a navy blue. It's called blue spruce. And so I'm going to adjust as I go, working off both these pictures. And I think I'm going to come down, and then Hillside's going to come here. It doesn't have to be exact. That's not our goal today. Our goal is just to practice mark making with our pastel. Need to put this in. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. If I could be there right now, I would.
What kind of fish do you catch there?
This is going to be mostly salmon or rockfish. There's a lot of the rockfish like to kind of hang out along the side of the mountains, the hillsides right down close. But we were fishing for coho, salmon, silvers, and it was fun. But every time, I swear, every time I lose my gear, and it just is like, come on. I swear. And I'm just going darker. I know that there's some darker areas, but just not a big deal. On this picture, I see this side, the picture that I sent you. So I'll kind of add that in. I know you're going to be following that. I like these lines of those bright orange highlights and that yellow. I kind of want to this is my roadmap, not to forget.
Hey, how come you're not using an underpainting this time? Just curious.
Yes, good question. I felt like today I kind of wanted to just use my sketching pastel. There's no it just didn't feel like I wanted to do an underpainting. I could have. I felt like I could get what I wanted in terms of final with just dry wash using my foam core today. So good question. And where did I put it?
And did you say foam core?
Yeah, so I've got this. You can just get it at the hardware store.
Okay.
It's actually I'll grab a piece here. It's a tube, and it's to put over your pipes so they don't freeze.
Oh.
And it comes in a long tube, and it's broken down into small pieces now to find it. But yeah, it's just it really helps with blending and saves your hands. So I prefer using it. But you can use like an old t-shirt. I wouldn't recommend using your like paper towel. It just leaves, especially with the sanded paper, it leaves too much residue. It'll just tear up the paper and it just won't look right. So
The stuff they wrap bananas in works too.
you what?
The stuff they wrap bananas in.
The stuff that the bananas you're saying? Yeah, that works too. I might be out of this, which would be crazy that I've blown through that much foam core. So that's crazy. I know we've been painting a lot, but man, I was gonna find a piece, although Molly came in here, my dog, and chewed up some, so, you know. Love her. She's a little stinker. Yeah, shoot. Well, I'll just use a little piece of foam that I have here, but it's like gray.
It's okay. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer I don't have more. Another thing that you could use is your finger, of course. I try to stay away from doing that too much. Okay, I might have a piece over here. Just because it can get a little, the oils on your fingers, but that's okay. And I'm just rubbing it. So this is the idea, is just you're kind of diffusing the color a little bit, making it a little blended. And it's okay if you're finding that the pastel is kind of falling down. It's not a big deal. I'm just gonna bring put a little bit, just take some of what I had on my mountainside and bring it over there. It's just essentially like toning your paper. Some artists don't even do this blend. You can at this point you could even take your alcohol and go in and do a wash. Nothing's wrong. It's just kind of, sometimes the picture, the painting just tells the story of how it should go, and that's just what you go with. So okay, the next step is reinforcing the darks. So what I mean by that, I like to add a couple dark colors that are in the same value. So I'm going to go back in with my blue, and I'm going to reinstate the dark, the shadow. Planes that are upright are always our darkest, right? So I'm just using the side of my pastel. Just giving me an idea. I'm not doing exact, just looking at those darks. You can even look at your black and white picture to help you kind of follow, right? We're just looking at those shadows. I can always cut back and carve around with my pastel. So this is okay. Okay, now I have a dark purple. And then I'm gonna have a dark brown. So I'll send you pictures of both still working with darks. We're building up. So I'm just going to come right into the blue and add a little bit of that purple. What goes up here must come down into our water. It's a reflection, right? This dark brown, I'm thinking I want to put right down in here, space. We're trying to build up. The sun is hitting it. We know it's warm. This is a nice warm brown. Not too hard. You can still see through. There's a little rock here too in the front that you can add. A little piece out here. Okay. Just a little bit up there. So the next step is we're going to start with our lightest lights, usually, which is the sky area. Something about the sky, for those who are new, we always know that the higher we go, the darker, more intense blue. And as we come down to our horizon, we're going to have more of a warmer turquoise color. And so we're going to start with our blue, and a nice blue here and more intense medium value. And then we're going to gradually get down to a calmer turquoise color. So these are the colors I've chosen. I have show you. So we're going to use our pastel to blend. And so we're going to start with our dark blue up here, like a periwinkle almost. I'll go back to the picture. It was a beautiful day. Okay. I'm going to take my light turquoise, just come right like this. And it's okay to come over the hillside. We'll come back into that. Just along the side here. Come back with my blue. Just use my finger, just barely. I have a wet washcloth to wipe my hands off. I highly recommend, or something that you can, if that happens, which is okay. Just finally got my 400. And it's much, much better. Okay, then I'm gonna use in between. This is my bridge of those two. Making there's no line, it's just a nice blend. Just like that. And keep those colors set aside. Of course, what we have up in the sky eventually is reflected into the water. So we will use those colors down into the water once we establish that. So, okay. Next thing we're going to do is think about what we want to put down in the water. And again, going back to, we know the water is dark blue, dark green. What we see, these light colors, is the reflection of the sky. So as we're building with pastels, we're thinking, what is underneath all these lighted areas, underneath these highlighted areas? And so in order to make it 3D and to give us that aerial perspective, we need to build up from the darks to the lights. So with our water, I've pulled out some like a dark blue, and got some over here, like a nice, what's that? Kind of a blue green. It's what the water actually is. I'm gonna mix the two together, so I'll take a picture of it. And meanwhile, why don't you guys send in where you're at so I can look. If you have any questions. It's kind of like the picture that I was thinking about doing today. Good, Jeannie. Good. Yep. Oh, my phone. Good, Jackie. Yeah, that's great.
Marie,
Yeah.
I missed when you were doing it, but the foreground where the browns are, is it laid on top of the blue?
In some areas it is. Let me take a close-up picture.
I'm still on the blue and I'm figuring out how far down I should go.
Yeah. No, this is a good stopping point. I know that I am a fast painter just by nature. That's just I just move way fast. My brain's going and firing, and I'm reaching for colors here and there. And that's what I hope for you all, is that it's going to become so intuitive that you're just going to know, okay, I need it lighter here, I need it darker here. And so stop me if I kind of get ahead. I want to make sure that I'm not moving too fast.
You're fine. I took too long drawing anyway.
Oh, well, and I didn't get super specific. I know that so this is planning. I've painted this before in the past, which helps muscle memory, right? But something, if you can do before class, do some charcoal sketches of the subject. What it does is it really helps your brain follow those edges and follow the subject, and it gets you, it's like your brain already says, okay, I know what I'm doing, I see what I'm seeing, And it surely helps to see composition, like what I just pointed out with this hillside hitting right where in my picture right here. That's a problem. Had I sketched it out, I would have known, and then I would have drawn it and redrew it to make sure that it looked appropriate. So on your own, definitely when you see the picture for our class, try and sketch it out and see you know, how you can enhance the picture or the subject, or what questions come up as you're sketching it. And maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not, but it does help when going forward, thinking about how you want to paint this. And so for me, I know that there's this line that I need to address, and that's okay. I know at the end with my lights, I'm just gonna hit it with angles to suggest those highlights. So I'm not, again, using my pastel to draw. I'm using my pastel as the actual shape, like I showed you in those pictures of the other artists. So that's our goal today is, and we call it mark, excuse me, mark making, using your pastel to create marks. And I'll hold up a piece of paper again to show you. So for those that are new, mark making is using, this is a soft pastel and it's rectangle. And so I'm tipping it on its edge a little bit and then I'm pulling down. That's a mark. Then I'm using it this way and pulling it that way. And that's a mark. And then you're adjusting the pressure of how hard. So if I want it just a light, I'll bring it down light. If I really wanted it hard, I'd press harder. And so you see how that creates lines. And then you can do small pulls. This is a square. I can turn it and do it like this and bring it down. Or I can use it like this off to the side. So you can create all these different, that's why rocks are really fun. For the round pastel, these are really great for blending, using again your mark, but blending. And I'm coming down and wisping out, coming down, wisping out, very, very lightly. Practice with what you have. Every brand is a little different in consistency. I have, I would say the Seigneur Paris set is pretty soft. The Great American Pastels are very soft and buttery. They kind of almost just, they fill the tooth of your paper really fast. So just, you're gonna familiarize yourself down the road of what you like. So, but good job, Jackie, you're getting it. So, you know, we're just keep moving along. Okay, so our next step, we've got our lightest lights in and our sky. So we need to think about our water. Again, with the idea of building from the darks to the lights, I have some blue and I really see some pretty green in there. So one thing with painting with pastels, you know, we're painting water. We want to paint in a horizontal fashion. So rocks, more vertical, right? Water, more horizontal. So just, let me see. I heard Julia. She's great, Julia. Yep. Perfect. So now bring some of your brown and purple down into your water, right? What goes up here comes down into the water. So we're just gonna go ahead and put in some blue. And that's, I know you see a lighter blue and green, but we're gonna add our dark in first. And that's what I'm doing. Just looking at the edges, looking at the bottom edges.
Is that purple?
This is a navy.
Oh, navy. Okay.
And I'll take a picture.
It looks so purple from me.
Yeah, it does look, well, I have purple down in here from the purple I put up in the rock.
Oh, I see.
That might be what you're, yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense. Yep. I'm just using the edge. The water is so beautiful. It really is that green glacier water. Put some back in here. And then I've got some nice green, and I'm going to use that and just come right into the blue. We're just building layers. And I'm not covering the entirety of that blue. I'm just bringing it into the areas where it's more green. Letting it just, the pastel blend. For your paper, Jackie, it will fill up with the pastel really fast. So if you have spray fixative, that would help you too.
Yeah, I do.
And you may have to do that a couple times as you're practicing, and it just kind of like holds everything, and then you can layer on top. So that helps too. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to leave the water how it is right now. And I've got this kind of a darker value gray down green. And I'm going to put that down at first for the back side and then come on top of it with some more duller greens. I'll take a picture so you can see. And we're going to just start working our back and then come forward. So I'm only going to be putting this in the treed area, okay? And just using the edge, kind of coming right into the sky. It is dark, that's okay. We're going to lighten it up. Okay. Let's see. Kind of need more of a blue. Okay. Got blue here, a blue gray, and then we need to address this back side. And it's like a purpley color almost, right? So this might work, or something like that. Just looking to see what I've got here. Let's see. So let's do this purple. It's a grade purple. Send you a picture of it. Clean it off here. And I'm looking at the distance, right? They're cooler and duller. We're pushing that hillside back. Just like that. Then we're going to come in with a value lighter. Same color family. Take a picture. Then we're going to come back over that dark green with this blue gray. Oops. So I'm just coming along the edge. I'm going to roll just over to this side a little bit. But we're going to add a little bit. So it's going to be warmer in temperature, but duller. Because we know the sun is coming from this angle. It's hitting the edges and coming in. So we're going to have more warmth on this back hillside. And this is just a dark purple, back and forth. So I wanted to show you what I'm talking about when I say warmer versus cooler. So these two are close in value, but do you see how the green on the left is warmer than the green on the right? So what I mean is the blue-green on the right is almost reading more blue, but by itself, it's reading blue-green here. So that's what happens when you put color next to each other. And so I'm seeing this side over here is warmer. And so I'm going to use that value, right? But I'm going to use it in a warmer temperature of a green. And so I'm going to be using that over on this side. So coming over that and coming down. Okay.
Marie,
Yeah.
why is it that no matter how many purples I have, I never have the right shade?
Purple is very hard. You are not alone. I will say it is that and greens. Actually, that and blues too. I would say blue, green, and purple. I feel like yeah. So mixing, you just have to think about mixing the color on the side to get that purple you want. Or if you have some light greens, even light blues, it doesn't have to be purple. You can use whatever color as long as the values look okay. But I agree, it is such a pain. Yep. So I'm thinking hillside wise here is probably going to be some purple. Yeah.
And you can't blend them, right? The colors you have are what you have in your box.
Say that again.
And you can't blend them, right? Like if you want to turn like a brown into slightly purple, you can have a thin layer of brown, a thin layer of purple, and then blend it. Can you do that?
So you can, I would suggest doing more so take your red and your blue. So if you had like some red, muted red, and and then and then you come over it with blue. You're mixing to create that purple.
Okay.
So if you have like a dull red and then a duller blue, you can create a duller, even a gray if you have some gray. But yeah, thinking about mixing the colors. I chose the dark purple, darker purple. It's still muted because it's in the distance. It's not this dark purple. If I were to put this dark purple here, now we're competing. So I'm wanting to keep focus on this rock coming forward, which is going to be more saturated in color. It's going to be more detailed, and I'm wanting everything behind it to be pushed back. So I'm keeping that in mind as I'm working these colors. This is going to be lighter than here because this is farther in the distance. And at the very end is when you come in and refine, right? You can add in your lines with your pastel. If you want this to be more prominent, you can carve in. Right now, I'm just working the layers. And over here, I'm keeping in mind that I still wanted a dull purple. And I'm just going to start building up the colors. in the same color family. So, you know, I see that I've got a little bit of light here. We've got some coming down off the back side at an angle, right? Because this appears like it's coming, swooping down on the side, like some of that hillside came loose. And it's still just using light touch. I'm going to go back with my dark muted green. And now I'm going to bring that down the hillside.
What are you doing, baby?
Just now I'm just kind of filling in those areas a little more. Don't want a complete straight line. And come back with my green. Okay. Let's see where everyone's at. I'll take a picture and you guys can. So in this picture, what I'm seeing here and sending the picture is this value and this value are very close, if not almost the same. And so that's not going to read right. So I'm going to come back in with some darker to then that will push that farther back. Right now they're kind of competing because they're at the same, almost the same value. So that's what happens as you place these colors with each other, how they play off. So I'll probably come in with more of a blue, a muted blue to kind of push that and cool it down a little bit off to the side. Let me look at, well, in my picture, it looks that way. I should look at the one that I sent you because it probably is reading a little different. Reading more of a brown. Too orangey. And then you have just a bunch of colors and you think, holy moly, do I need more? Yes, you always need more pastels. No. As Julia has found out. And Jean. I don't even buy sets anymore. It is good to buy sets in the beginning, but then you kind of find out that they're very, you'll get some of the same colors and you'll find out just like today, you need more purples or blue. So you end up buying just sticks as themselves. There we go. Okay. Let's have everyone send in where they're at so I can look at it before we dig into this rock. The fun part. Oh, let's see here.
Okay.
Good, Jeannie.
Oh, it's nice with the turquoise.
Yeah. I would take that really pretty light purple that you have on your rock. Maybe glaze over that dark purple on your back hillside just to push that back a little bit. You know what I mean?
With which back?
On the left, that rock, that purple is fairly close in value with that purple on the back side of that hillside right here. These two.
Oh, that there. Yeah, yep, yep, yep.
But I love all those colors in that rock. Look at all the browns and the dark purples. Good job. Love it. Good job. Let's see. Jackie. All right. Jackie, you're moving along.
I'm just trying to focus on value because I haven't done anything with colors really.
Yeah.
So
That's exactly right. You're starting out. So another tip is take a picture of your painting right now and turn it to black and white.
oh, okay.
And then look at our subject, the picture I sent over in black and white, and you're going to immediately see where your values need to be adjusted. And then take a picture of your pastels and turn those to black and white.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to help you when you're starting out to really see, because it can be deceiving, as we all know. You look at it and you're thinking, I thought that was like a darker value than it really is. So do that. You're going to immediately see what you need to adjust. Good job. Good, Christina. So you're working, same with you, you're working with your values, right? Your backside of your hills are reading, they're pushing back and receding. Now what, yeah?
Can you hear my dog? Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So what we're going to work on next with you is all your brown is reading, right, the same value. We want to break that up, right?
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start laying in our lights on top of those browns, and that's going to help break up that solid color, right? So that's what we're going to work on here in a few minutes. But your water's looking good. Yeah, keep dragging your pastel horizontal in your water.
Oh, I see.
Yep. Good, Linda. Yeah, I love the blue and that orange on your rocks. Looking good.
Thank you.
Fill in your water a little bit too, horizontal, like just move your pastel back and forth just a little bit to, or fill it in a little more, but I love the back. Your hills are reading really nice in the back. Very nice. Good job.
Thanks. Okay.
That's great.
Good job, you guys.
It doesn't look flat. Linda's looks like
Yeah.
It's in 3D.
Yeah. And so using your values, right? Good, Julia. Yep.
Wow.
So now you're getting ready to lay on our brights. Good. Very good. I know, it's fun. It's fun to see all of this.
It's great.
I love it. Did that help, Jackie, turning it to black and white?
It actually helps turning the pastels to black and white.
Yep. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So when you're now looking at your picture all in black and white, it's not that you're looking at blue or green, you're just looking at the value.
Yeah.
And that helps you see, and you can select your colors a lot easier and kind of follow that, especially on your picture. So good job. Okay. let's see. So I've got some of these pastels here off to the side, and I'll take a picture of some peach browns. And you guys, it looks like you've already picked out some already for those who have started on your rock. So I'm just gonna use those colors, and I'm just testing down here, and gonna lay in some darks. Same process. Just looking at the lighted areas. I'll come back in with some darks. Just using the edge. It's not my final color.
Oh,
Almost has like a green tint.
I keep accidentally putting dirty fingers on the blue sky.
Yes, so definitely have a washcloth if you can.
I'm making slightly down.
So what value should the water be?
It's gonna be a dark. So you're gonna start out dark, like we did, and then we're gonna build up on it.
Okay.
So start with your darks, your dark navy blue and dark teal green, and then we're gonna take what we put in the sky and lay over the top of our water. So, and right now I'm just taking these, I'm just kind of building up these colors here, right? So I've got this warm chocolatey brown. I'll just use the edge. This is a hard pastel, but that's okay. Looking at the edges of the rock where those brights hit. Okay. And it's like immediate when you lay down one color, then you say, okay, I've got to address this color. And that's going to be the back side. And let's see here. Might be. Okay. I'm going to come back in with my dark navy blue. can come back in and reestablish where I lost some of these darks. Right? We know this. Create this edge. One of the great things about pastel is that it's give and take. Back and forth is how you work these. And so I really am tempted, right, to put that warm color on top of the rock. I'm not quite there yet. Not quite. Using the edge. I'm going to take a picture. This is all what we're learning today is the mark making, right, on these rocks. That's the fun part. Because if I put it here and here, this reads okay, but here it's too light. I will need a darker color, maybe even like this dark purpley blue to come in. So see, now we're coming into that. Ooh, that is purpley. But I like it. Got a real sharp angle there. Then you can come back over that with a gray. Nope, wrong gray. Just to push it back a little bit. This is the fun part, building up. Okay. Probably want to come in with a darker or a brighter orangey color over this. So we're going to build up on top of these rocks here. Just light. And I'm going in the direction right? Just like that. Got some right here. Sun hitting it. Nice. A little bit over here. Bring some down into the water. You drag it down and then across with your finger. Just filling in here the water to get it blended. Just coming along the edge of these rocks. We're gonna lay those nice blue from our sky. This is just my hard pastel. Come back up in here. Again, I'm not drawing every little edge. Okay. All about the edges. We've got a little bit of some green that's coming off the hillside down into the reflection of that water. So we can just add that right in there, right? Just like that. A little bit into here. To the water.
Oh, wow.
So those bright blue and bright oranges, I'll come back in and then tone those down. They're really pretty to have underneath our layers. Because right now it's like, woo, those are bright blue, bright orange, but we'll come back in and glaze over some milder color just to have those peaks of those bright colors. It just gives it more vibrancy. How's everyone doing?
It's fun.
It is fun. I love rocks. I love them. I love them because you can use lines, you can use squiggle marks, you can essentially create these wonderful areas, these highlighted areas. I'm just using the edge of my pastel, and I'm just going in the direction that I see, right? I love it. What I do see right in here is I need to lighten this up a little bit. Pop that forward. Which means then I can bring this in. Just like that.
That's beautiful, Marie.
It's fun, isn't it? It's fun just seeing what you can do with these colors, you know, and adding in those shadows, right?
Wow. Hard today. I'm having a hard time today.
You're having a hard time.
I feel like it should be taking shape faster than it is.
That's okay. You know, you're just learning how to make it do what you want to do, and that takes time. That really does. And practice. And you know, try it again. Try this painting again, because even I'm looking at it going, this isn't really doing what I want. You know, I lost my angles, and so I'm coming back in and reestablishing those, right? And so, don't be afraid to start over and do it again. You're going to learn each time. You're going to see how it will work for you. Let's see. Good, Jeannie. Okay, so I love your rock to the left. How cool is that? I love your colors. Just remember, let's not make it too even. So see your lines, how they're evenly spaced up your rock here. So I would just maybe take out one line or just drag some yellow over it, like right here.
Wow. These look amazing.
So, you know, where you have your yellow, just kind of drag it so it's just like this, right? And then on this side, you're like me, I lost my shape. So look at your shape of your hill, your mountainside. That dark to the green.
Right.
And then now you can take your colors and kind of cut into that dark area to add a little bit more 3D depth, especially in your dark shadow. You can, I love that blue color you have right here in the corner.
Mhm.
Yeah, add some of that green into your shadow part of your rock. So look, that's really cool. Very nice. Yeah, I haven't even added any of the sky down into the water, but you guys send over your pictures. Let me see. Jackie, how are you doing? Christina?
I mean, my drawing isn't good, but I'm trying to get value.
Perfect. That's okay. I mean, the rock is a rock. That's what's fun about them, is you can come in and carve them out and adjust, you know. And so I know that I've got this angle here that I need to, that's a pretty prominent area.
There's quite a bit of it that's nearly black, right? Can I use my black?
I don't use black. I try not to use the black. I would use dark blue.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
So the mountain will be mostly, well, it's still kind of it looks blue instead of like a shadow.
Send it over.
I'll show you the blue and the black together.
Okay.
That's the blackest blue I have. Hang on.
Okay.
There, see? It's still kind of a cobalt.
Okay. Actually, you can glaze that. Is it black you said?
Yeah.
You can take that dark and just lightly come into your shadowed areas.
Okay.
It's gonna mix with your blues for the time being, but yeah, you'll want to get some darker darks.
And UArt sells these in individual colors too, or should I get the soft pastels? Not UArt, the new pastels.
Yeah, you're okay using the new pastels. That's okay. You're gonna have a little bit of a different effect if you do have some soft pastels. So, if you can, try to get a small quantity of them to have.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, Julia. Looks great. Yep. Don't you just love that, the blue and the purple in that shaded area, how much it makes it come to life? And then if we were just, yeah. Oh, good, Jackie. So
Really, all I'm looking at is value at the moment, because I can't concentrate on making the picture look good and the value.
That's okay. That's okay. So you've got it. You're using the values correctly, and so do this painting again, but then incorporate some edges, and that's using these edges here. Okay.
Mhm.
So then your next step would be to come in and carve out these angles.
Right. So I'll start with a fresh sheet.
You can do, yep, you can do that, or you can even do it on this one if you have, I don't know if you'll have enough space on your paper, you know,
Yeah.
it's not sanded per se, but so yeah, you might want to just try again. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But good job. So
Thank you.
you did it with the values. You got where the lights are and where the darks are, and that's awesome.
That black and white trick is so good.
Oh, it's so helpful.
Yeah.
It's so helpful because what you think is really, really dark isn't. And then you think, oh, wow, those are really close. So I tell you, I do it a lot. I look at what I have and I'm like, ooh, that's not what I thought I had. So yeah, it's fun. It's all about having fun. But we do need to get some color in that water. So let's get some of that sky color down in here. Now, in reflections, you're going to see probably some really darker blue down here. And that's just, you know, the sky up higher. It's shining down. And so you don't have to do a whole lot. Just, I like to take my pastel and just lightly skim it across and build up it's going to get lighter as we get into the distance. Just this. And we've got some land back here. I'll get my lights like that. Maybe a little bit up into here. Almost more of a and I'm going to go even darker. Let's soften the edges a little bit here. A pretty green that I love. Some of that green up into here. Okay. Get some of that green in here. It's just layers back. And it is white. It appears to be white, the water, but we're going to use very, very light blue. And I just like to kind of use the edge of my pastel and just push down, and it'll kind of crumble, and I'm just pushing harder to show where the surf is. I'll come up in here. Looks like I've got some that comes out along there. Maybe a little bit right in here, right? Quite a bit that comes around this rock. I'm just wiggling my finger, my pastel pushing hard. A little bit out here. We've got a little bit of yellow right there. Some nice golden. Okay. Just looking at the shapes. Not dark enough. I like that. And almost feel like it needs this color. I haven't quite decided what it's going to be yet. Maybe. Then you can that's what I like about You can come back in here. Like I need to put some more. Going to be more detailed here than it is anywhere else. And even like this edge is fairly lost. And so I kind of need to decide, am I going to darken that edge? I'm going to darken it because my rock is light. If I were to lighten it, which normally we do, then it would compete with it itself. And so it's how do you push and pull? That's why this color here works pretty good on behind. Okay, let me see. You guys can send in where you're at. There was a, and you guys could tell me what you think, because this is the other picture I had. See if I can, for class, if this is something that you guys feel like you could tackle. I think you can, but I didn't want to be too overwhelming. I just sent it. What do you think? This is another like river rock. It's a little different, you know, looking at the different shapes and thinking about how we could layer different colors and the texture. So that's what I was kind of thinking about next week, trying to tackle. If you guys think, and maybe practice and see, sketch it out, see if it's something that you feel good about. I think you guys could do it. It's a little bit more time that we would spend like we did today, like layering colors, not really paying attention to the background much. It's just all about the rocks and the water.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you guys did so well today. I think you guys could do this. It's a little harder with the moving water and then the shadow with the light coming through, but we could just break it down to the basics and apply the process we did today, starting out with our dark colors and then, you know, building upon those into a painting. So I think that's something that we'll probably do next week. I wasn't sure how today was going to go, but I feel like everyone did really well. What do you think?
I like it.
I like it too. It's kind of different.
some abstract kind of shapes in there almost.
Right? That's what I thought. It's kind of fun, and you have like these smaller areas where you have like the smaller rocks right in the distance, and then these larger ones in the front. And really, we could have fun with that water kind of coming through. I think it would be a fun painting to do. So, okay. I'm glad you guys are on board with that. Let's see where you guys are at right now.
Nah.
Nah. That's okay. Don't worry. I fiddle and play with my paintings a lot. And so this is just one of them, right? Maybe you want to do it again.
Yeah.
Approach it a little bit differently. I highly advise doing that.
I would love to. I take a lot of photos myself. Maybe I'll try and turn one into a pastel painting.
Excellent. Yes.
But maybe when I'm better. This one's not looking awesome today.
That's okay. We covered a lot.
I just need to spend more time on it too, I think.
I think that one thing with pastels is approaching it with the basics of sketching and looking at my darks to my lights and what color do I want to have shine through. Is it warm? Is the scene warm? Is it cool? Right? We're breaking it down just into easy steps. Is the scene, where's the sun? And if it's warm, then I want the warm colors. And if it's cooler in the shadow, I want the shadow, the cooler colors. And so I think that would be a wonderful idea. When you're working from your own picture, you were there. So you know what it looked like.
And also some photos are just okay. So you can certainly improve on it if you use your creative license.
Yep, exactly. Do it. It helps. I highly encourage you to do that. And you know, just trying to figure out what value to use. Is it, and you know, in this picture, right, it's appearing to be darker, but really we had to change that because it wouldn't look right if we had it all the same. This value and the rock wouldn't come forward. And when I talk about the edges, I'm talking about this edge of this rock to this mountain, the edge of this rock to this mountain. If you're having them the same value, they're going to compete with each other. So here I have the sun hitting the rock, and so I had to darken this, and it's okay. I darkened it, but it's a very muted darkened color. So it's not a black, it's still receding, but it's darker in value than this edge. It's an art. I mean, coming down into this corner of this rock right here, I had to add a lighter green in order to make this edge come forward. Over here, same thing. I'm putting in this warmer color to push this rock forward. Hope that helps. Then just have fun.
Do you ever paint portraits with pastels, Marie?
I have not. I've generally have always done landscapes, and what's funny, I think it's funny. I'm doing a oil painting right now with rocks, and sometimes I sit there, I'm like, gosh, why can't I get this figured out? You know, and I just have to sit there and think, how would I attack it in pastel? Same thing, you know, paying attention to the values. So good job, everyone. That was fun. I painted this before a long time ago, and this one totally looks different than the other one, which is why it's fun to paint from your photos. They always turn out differently. So, oh good, Natalia, that's beautiful. Very nice. Now you're ready to add maybe just a tad lighter on your very far trees. Love it. Yeah, much better, Jeannie. Carving in your lights, see those edges, how it reads a little better. Good job. Good job, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, practice, practice. Good job, Linda. Very nice. Beautiful. I love it.
Just put some,
Yeah.
like, where you were pointing out in that V shape, I added some light green.
Yep. Yeah, and so
Edge pop more.
good, Julia. Beautiful. I love how everyone's looks different. Don't you love that?
Yeah, it's great. My daughter, she loves looking at the pictures after class, and she doesn't even need to look at the names now. She goes, "Oh, that's Jeannie's. I love it."
I know, isn't that? I know. You just get so, and that's because everyone has their own mark making, your own personal style. I totally know what your daughter's saying. Like, I know, I can tell when it's Linda's or Natalia's or Jeannie's or Julia. You start having a style as to how you paint, and that's the joy. That's what I love, and it's so great. Good job. I'm so glad you came, Jackie. Keep up the good work. Thank you, everyone. Hi, Jessica. Hope you had a good day. Good to see you.
Thanks. Yeah, just getting some easel time in.
Yep, good job. All right, well, Miss Molly is ready to have some attention. Yes, good job, Christina. That's great.
Oh, you think so?
Yes, you're doing good. You're really, just keep at it.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Gosh, these dogs.
I know, everyone's dogs are going, hello, hello.
We've been painting an hour and a half.
I know. All right, I better sign off. Okay, you guys have a great week, and if you have any more questions, just send me over the chat. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.